Welcome to the Soul's Kitchen podcast, episode 7. I am so happy to welcome Laura McPhee as my guest today. Laura is a speaker, healer, and coach who helps entrepreneurs increase their impact and income with pleasure and overflow. That there is a lot in there that I hope we get to talk about. It sounds so much fun. So how did you become this version of Laura McPhee? Because I feel like there were other versions of Laura McPhee.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. I feel like a huge part of my journey was getting so deep in personal development and growth. And I've been doing that kind of work for well over a decade. And then I got into private counseling, coaching, healing in about 2015. And that made such a huge difference for me to be like very clear on what my next level dream life was and then achieve it. And I kept having that happen over and over every couple of years where it's like, okay, this level of my dream life is being a full-time entrepreneur. And I did that in 2017. And then I desired to be a 6-figure coach. And I did that in 2020. And then I desired to move to a place that I had community locally. And I did that recently too. So like I've been able to continue to expand into my dream life and then hold it as a new baseline and then grow again from there. So that's been such a joy for me. And then I love supporting my clients and doing that too, to be like, okay, what's your dream life? Let's do all the baby steps and all the healing and all the work that gets you there. And then what are your desires from there? Like you can have so much gratitude for the life that you've created and allow the space for the expansion of your desires and go after that level of dream life and then the level of dream life after that.
So you said something there that I just want you to expand on when you said hold that level of your dream life. So can you expand on that a little bit? Because I think too, like some people manifest things and then it doesn't stay, or you know what I mean? It gets lost. So talk about that a little bit if you don't mind.
Definitely. And I'm really grateful that I have like theta healing in my back pocket because that really helps to like clear out old subconscious limiting belief systems that don't serve me.
Okay.
And then to realign to like what is of more service. So it's not just, oh, I like did a thing. It's I did a thing and I've upgraded my mindset and my subconscious belief system and the stories that are going on in the background. Like I've done all of that. So that when I expand into my new dream life, when I expand my comfort zone, I'm at this new level. And yeah, there's some wobbles and lessons and things that happen along the journey, but then I get to grow from that baseline again.
So the baseline, right, keeps moving. That's okay. That's amazing. And then, so the theta healing, tell us about the theta healing. I know a little bit about your theta because I've worked with you, which is how I met you. You really, really helped me, by the way.
So happy to hear that. And I've loved working with you over the years. It's been amazing. So for anyone who's brand new to theta healing, it brings you into your theta brainwave. That's where your subconscious limiting belief systems are. And as a theta healing practitioner, I've done the work to shift myself quickly into the theta brainwave state and my clients as well. So they don't really have to do anything except for say yes, which is so easy. It's such an amazing tool that supports my clients because
I lost you there. Are you with me?
I am.
Okay.
You sound clear.
Okay. I just, your image went away there, but that's okay. I might be able to fix that. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Anyway, that's okay.
No worries.
Okay. Okay. So how did you get into that theta healing?
Yeah. So in 2015, when I was burning out as corporate accountant, doing well over 80-hour work weeks, I was just like, oh my gosh, I need happiness. And that was such a big priority for me. And I was basically willing to try anything. So I went to this wellness expo in St. John. And there was a workshop called like letting go of stress or releasing worry or like something like that, where I was like, yeah, stressing less would be great. Felt very drawn to it. And it was the most woo thing I had ever gone to at the point, but it worked. And I was behaving differently. And it was like a 30-minute workshop. But I noticed there was a big difference in my thoughts. I was responding to things differently in my work life. So within a week or two, I was like, oh my gosh, if 30 minutes could do that, what would more do? So I went back to the person who ran the workshop and she became my theta healer for a while.
Okay. So it just resonated with you. So
Yeah, and it
you
worked
did,
so well.
and then how did you become a theta healer? Obviously from there,
Yeah, so I guess I got into theta healing in 2015, and then I had such huge transformations in my own life from it that I decided to be a theta healing practitioner in
mm-hmm.
2017. And I kind of am a seeker. So I did like basic in 1 month and then advanced the next month and manifesting in abundance the month after that. So it was pretty rapid,
Mm-hmm.
my
Yeah.
expansion into the certification once I was like a yes to the tool. And yeah, it's just like been a natural tool ever since. I am very grateful for how easeful it is for me and my clients to use, and it's really impactful. So
I was
it's
going to
just
say,
such an awesome tool.
you make it sound easy because it's making a shift like that from corporate world to what you're
Mm-hmm.
doing. It's, like a lot of people think about this, but they
Mm-hmm.
don't do it, or they don't know like where to start.
Yeah.
Uh, so help maybe, for someone who might be thinking about that and they're listening to this and they're going, I want to do that. What would you say?
That if your heart is calling you to it,
Mm,
to trust that pull, to trust your guidance. I was so clearly getting downloads that I was meant to be a happiness coach and healer back then. That was my title that just
okay.
kept coming through. And I would move in inspired action. So it doesn't need to be a huge shift. I just took the baby steps and the baby steps after that. So I quit my corporate
Right.
accounting job that was very high paying and was like, okay, let's do an accounting administrator job for, in my brain, I thought it was going to be 5 to 10 years. In reality, the universe was like a year and a couple months. Like that's all you need. And then
Okay.
you're like set to go and
Yeah.
run off to the races. But it was literally baby step after baby step. And what I've noticed, because I help entrepreneurs go from having a day job to their dream lives, is the how can hold them back. But really, if you
Right.
trust your inner guidance system, that'll guide you. And it wouldn't actually serve you if you were going to go from where you are. So, like, you're in New Brunswick, I'm in Toronto. If you were going to make that trip by foot, by bike, by car, by plane, you'd want to know the steps along the journey. You wouldn't
Right.
want the universe to just download you if we do like a road trip, for example, in the
Right.
next hour with like every speed you're going to have to be at, the turns you're going to do, the roads, all the things, and have zero road maps on the journey and have zero signs along the way. Like that wouldn't serve you.
Right.
But the universe is set up in a really loving way that it's like once you get to that turn, it's going to be like in 500 meters, turn left. Turn left
Right.
now. It gives you that guidance when you build that connection with your heart and you deepen that connection with your body's
Yeah.
wisdom. You get those signs as you walk the path instead of feeling like, oh, I can't make that big of a journey because I don't know the whole roadmap yet. That wouldn't serve you if you were downloaded
Right.
it with it all now. You'd be freaked out, but by the step that you'd have to do at number 50, you're like, I'm not the person who can do step number 50, but who you become along that journey from step 1 to 50 allows
Mm,
step 50 to be a thing that you can do.
right. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of trust involved. It's like you say, when you're listening to your heart desire. And what kinds of things, or how would you encourage someone to listen to their heart?
Yeah. I'd say
What?
that if you have like no sense of how to do that at all, just start listening to your body's direction more and more. So,
Mm,
especially as women, we're unfortunately culturally conditioned to put our needs last and serve other
right.
people. So, when I was a corporate accountant, I'd be like, I need to pee. And I'd be like, no, I just got a call. I have to take this call. And then afterwards, I'm
Mm,
like, I need to eat, but I'm going to push it off until 4 in the afternoon because I have all these deadlines
mhm.
stacking up and these people who have fires that they want me to put out. So the basic beginning stages is listening to your body. When you need to pee, go pee. When you need
Right.
to eat, eat. Listen to your body and do some of that forgiveness work so that that voice can get louder and even talk to yourself and be like, I'm so sorry I didn't listen to you that time that I really needed to pee, or all those times I really needed to pee and I prioritized
Mm,
something else above that. I'm going to be better at listening.
okay.
And
That's
then
really
go
cool.
inward. Yeah. So, like, you could even set an alarm to go off every half an hour, every 5 minutes, whatever you want to do to like train yourself and be like, okay, what do I need in this moment?
Wow, that's a really good idea. Because I was just thinking as you're saying that, and knowing, because I've done some of this work too, is that your mind can take over. and say, what are you
Yeah.
doing? Like start talking to say like some things to yourself that you not necessarily helpful. So
Yeah.
it's like doing the actions of like the doing, like you say, inspired action and feeling
Yeah.
good about it. And then the next inspired action. And then
Yes.
before you know it, like you say, okay, so the trust has to be there, I think.
And rebuilding
Yeah.
that trust, especially if you have days, weeks, years, decades of not trusting. So it's doing that repair work. If you had a relationship with a partner, for example, and all this stuff had built up, you wouldn't expect that within a minute things would heal and resolve and be better. It's like, okay, I'm committed to this relationship.
Right.
I'm going to do better and better, and I'm going to improve every day or every week or over time. I'm going to improve. So having that same relationship with yourself, with your heart, with your desires, with your soul's work, and be like, okay, I'm so sorry I haven't been listening. I'm sorry I shut you down. I'm sorry that I listened to external judgment or the cultural conditioning that that's impossible, that your dreams aren't for you, that whatever they had said that you listened to, or a parent or some kind of authority figure said that you listened to, be like, I'm so sorry. Show me. Tell me.
Right.
Yeah. So I can be supportive.
That's quite amazing, because I think too, even for myself, it's just those thoughts, but recently learning how to like let those, just watch the thought kind of float by and not really take it on. And then, and I think too, a lot of buzzwords lately, like self-care, love yourself, take care of yourself. But really, it is the key, like you really have to put yourself first
Yeah.
in order for everything else to benefit, like from
Definitely.
you, because when you're so busy looking after everything else and not your needs, and I know the P thing that you're talking about very well.
Yep. We all do it. It's all
we
okay.
all do it.
We're
Yeah.
human.
It's just like, and then I wait till the absolute last possible minute, and then I'm almost peeing my pants. It's like, oh my God. It's so, like crazy. Thinking that somehow we don't need to pee. Anyway, so can you talk about like putting, because a lot of people will have a hard time putting themselves first, I think.
Yeah.
Can you maybe talk about how that works?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I have been there. I used to very much identify as people pleaser, and I'd put everyone else first, my family's savior, and I would do everyone else's thing first. So I fully understand the come from place around that.
Right.
And again, we're going to talk about baby steps of just like, what can I do today to give me 1% more capacity, 1% more fuel, 1% more pleasure? And like following that answer that your body gives you, or an idea that pops in your head, or having a self-care list that you actually map out, where it's like, okay, what are free and quick self-care things that I can do? Whether it's on a post-it note or in various post-it notes around your house or in your cell phone or wherever you're going to see it, and go to something free and quick that you can do to increase some self-care.
Right.
Whether that's going for a walk or putting on your favorite song or singing or dancing or smelling an essential oil or petting a dog or doing whatever your body needs,
or
in
even
that
just
moment.
sitting down and putting your feet up, maybe.
Yeah.
For 5 minutes, without the guilt part, without the guilt.
Yes.
Like you say, I like how you say baby steps. It's so true. I did the post-it note thing with you when I first started working with you, and I still have them. And I've added to the collection, and that's actually really funny, because when my kids would come into my bedroom, then they started leaving me post-it notes.
Oh, that's so sweet.
You're the best, Mom. I love you, Mom. And it was really neat. Yeah, so I love that. So that is something that I have continued to do, the post-it note, just little reminders, so that sometimes if you're by yourself, you don't have anyone telling you how great you are all the time. So you go into your bathroom, and then there's a post-it note there. It is really cool trick that says you are beautiful, or have an awesome day, or whatever. It is a lovely, so thank you for that, because that has been something that I've continued to use in my life. It's just little reminders.
You're so welcome. I'm so happy to hear that.
So baby steps, I love that. So you are like, I don't feel like you took baby steps. You were just like, boom, into this life that you were meant to be. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And it's simultaneously baby steps and like big leaps when you have the capacity for
right.
it.
Okay. Right.
So there are bigger things that I've done along my journey that have taken more courage or bravery or more resource or a bigger investment. And I built up to those things. I didn't just
Okay.
like
No, you
jump off a
didn't.
cliff without a
Right.
parachute. For
Yeah.
example, I didn't go right straight from corporate into doing this as a full-time coach and healer.
Okay.
I went from corporate to a temporary job where I told them like, hey, I'm only going to be here for the next 5 to 10 years as I build up my coaching practice. And they were on board with
Right.
that. So
Okay.
I also recommend to people that they do things that are in alignment with their like grounded physical 3D human reality and their spiritual self. Because sometimes people get really ungrounded and just like
Yeah. That's an
blow up their
interesting.
life and do all the things. And sometimes that's what their heart is guiding them towards. And that's like the thing that gets them there. And sometimes people do that and then they feel like they're a big failure when things don't magically
Right.
work out. And it's like, but did you create steps in between? So right now, for example, I have an abundance pod that I have as a group program that supports people in holding their current day job, whether it's 9 to 5 or an income stream, while also building up their coach and healer business to being capable of holding them full time. So it's like this
Right.
transitional step that helps them instead of just, and I've seen this year after year where people just
Mm.
like have no plan, no savings, haven't learned how to be an entrepreneur, haven't learned anything about marketing, haven't learned anything about having a business themselves, and they just like quit their job, try the thing, and then they burn out or they feel like they
Right.
failed after a year because they're not profitable. And it's like, well, a lot of businesses unfortunately aren't necessarily profitable in the first
That's
year, and
right.
that's to be expected.
Right.
So to like have some grounded reality in it.
Yes, I love that because someone might look at someone like you. I'm just using you as an example and think
Yeah.
that you just jumped into this role and here you are. And then they want to do it too. But I know like the reality
Yeah.
is you're right. You have to be grounded in reality and take the steps. And a lot of
Hmm.
that self-healing stuff for some people. Some people have more to do than others, I think, depending on
Yeah,
your background and or whatever. And it's okay. I think
definitely.
for the goal is to just be happy.
Yes.
Like I
Hmm.
think too, like for a long time I wanted to get out of the 9 to 5. I'm still in it, but I'm doing all kinds of other things that make me happy. So the
Yes.
9 to 5 doesn't seem, it's not the only thing that I do. So like
Right.
this podcast project, for instance, is one of the things. So yeah, so it's good to and not feel bad because you're not like leaping into that whatever, but it will come, like you said, baby steps. I love that.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. So
Definitely.
I want to, you said something about pleasure and overflow. So talk about the
Mhm.
overflow and the pleasure part. Because I
Yes.
love it's a beautiful way, helps entrepreneurs increase their impact and income with pleasure and overflow. So
Yes.
I remember you saying that when I was working with you about you have to give to yourself first. I think coming back to the self again, and then you
Yeah.
give from your overflow so that you are
Yeah.
not depleting yourself. I
Mhm.
really love that. It's important for a lot of people to grasp, I think.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
having the intentionality that you're giving and you're serving the world from your overflow. Like, no one needs to be
right.
perfect here. I know that a lot of, like, high achievers and perfectionists, like, listen to
Mm,
that and think, "Oh, I can't do anything unless I'm at 110%." That's
right.
not what we're getting. We're creating more of a conversation, especially around like female business owners, that we get
Mhm.
to fill our cup first and then we serve
Mhm.
someone else. We fill our cup first and then we serve our partner or our children or the
Right.
other humans that rely on us, that we get to prioritize that first. And that actually gives you more energy to serve more people. It gives you more
Right.
energy to see more opportunities. It gives you more resource. There's just so much more that you can do when you fill your cup first and you have that intentionality that you're serving from that overflow. So you are at 150%, for example, for that energy where it's like, okay, I could give 50 to this person over here, and then I could give 10 to my partner and 10 to my kids. And then I'm like in a good place still, instead of
Right.
starting off at maybe 50% or 20% or -5% and becoming really resentful of your business or the people that
Right.
you support or that you love or that you give or that you caretake from a depleted space. So we're living without that
Mm.
narrative that's unfortunately been perpetuated through so many generations and through so much society,
Mhm.
that we're choosing something different where you get to fill your own cup with self-care rituals in the morning and the evening and sporadically throughout the day that allow you to keep filling up your cup and being resourced
Right.
instead of, like I was saying,
And
when I was in corporate and I like wouldn't pee and like eat my
right.
lunch at 4 or 5 at night, and like
And you were, oh, yeah.
that wasn't
Yeah.
a sustainable way to do it. It led to burnout.
Right. And sometimes that's a simple thing as just maybe saying no to
Mhm.
someone or to a gathering that you're supposed to go to and you really don't want to
Yeah.
go. I know that was a
Mhm.
big learning for me, and I did work on that with you, and it was huge. And I
Yeah.
remember the first time I said no, I think you had suggested it, to say it, do it with a person who you feel safe with. And I
Yes.
did, and that person was
Mhm.
amazing. And so then you practice with people that, who are going to love you no matter what, and you get like,
Yeah.
you say no, and then the first time you say no, and they're not going to throw you out or hit you or like be really angry
Yeah.
at you. They go, okay, yeah, no problem. I remember going, oh my god, okay. So it's like that, practicing saying no with safe people, like, so that you don't overbook yourself. I guess it's just another way
Yes.
yeah, of
Mhm.
giving yourself more of what you need. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's great for any habit that you're building. Is like, let's do it with the easiest people in your life, the people that'll be an
Right.
easy win, and then you can compound those wins after that. Don't necessarily go to
Yeah.
like the biggest pain point who has no
No.
resource. So it's like sometimes our parents or other kind of family
Mm.
members that it's like, oh, they're like the pain in my ass. But that would be the biggest benefit of saying no to them. Might not be the best person to start
To
off with.
start
Like
with,
you were
but then
saying,
you,
do the easier
yeah.
people first, build that skill. And then when you say it to them, it's not that big of a jolt to your system of like, oh my God, I'm trying a new thing. And they said all these things. Like that can be a
Right.
lot for a human to manage.
Yeah, but I mean, eventually, like, you have to be okay with that. I think, like,
Yes.
you get to the point where you're so okay with yourself that
Hmm.
whatever their reaction is their reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh wow, that's interesting. So here you are. So it was 2015. It's now 10 years. 10
I
years in.
know. A decade went by so fast.
Yeah, and like, you're no longer in the corporate world at all.
No.
No,
Hmm.
you fully transitioned. So
Yep.
you're coaching and healing. So you're kind of
Yeah.
doing it all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm very
that's so
grateful. I've
amazing.
been full time doing it since 2017. And yeah, it's like my
Wow.
soul's purpose, 100%. I'm so lit up and fulfilled by it. And then I get to keep upgrading my dream life around my
Right.
business, around partners that I've been with, around friend groups and community. Like you get to continue to expand your horizons when you again have that resource,
Right.
when you have a fuller cup, when you have wins under
Yes.
your belt of like, okay, this worked in this area. Now I can do this over here.
Mm. Oh wow, that's amazing. And so now you're living in Toronto.
Yes.
Yeah, and do you want
Mhm.
to tell people how they can get a hold of you or find you if they would like to explore more of what you do?
Definitely. Yeah. I'm Laura McPhee on Facebook. You can always add me as a friend or reach out. I'm Coach Laura McPhee on Instagram. So those are the best places to follow me for the different content and energy healings and all that fun stuff. And you can always reach out to me privately on those platforms as well.
Wow, Laura. Gee, thank you so much. I feel like I wanted to talk to you for longer, but I feel like we've covered a lot of things. Is there anything else you want to say?
Mm. The other piece
Like,
that was coming up around
okay,
no was that you
okay.
can also create a community that the response to no is thank you for taking care of yourself. So
That's
you get to
amazing.
go first in
Yeah,
that when someone says no to you, you say thank you for taking care of yourself.
right. Okay,
And then you can have those check-in conversations with people that are close to you that, hey, it feels really good in my body when I say no, that someone is honoring and respectful of that. Can the response to that no
right,
be thank you for taking care of yourself? And if you're a little bit annoyed or pissed off, like, can you work on that yourself? Because that's your own thing. If you're taking that
right,
personally, that's your side of the street, not mine.
right. Wow.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's a really good advice, because I think, yeah, you're right. With your friends you can practice, and unfortunately sometimes people fall off. Like, if you're really
Right.
going down a path and they're not, like you said, it's their stuff, but sometimes
Yeah.
people don't know that it's them. They think it's you.
Mhm. Yeah. And we're all
Yeah,
humans, so sometimes we have our blind spots. Like no one's perfect.
this is true, and I think you help people with their blind spots. because you sure
Thank
helped me
you.
with mine.
Yes, it's definitely a superpower, and I'm very grateful I get to do it.
Yeah. Well, you're an amazing healer, and I hope people reach out. And
Thank
thank
you.
you so much for being on this podcast. And you never know, we
Thank you
might do
so
it
much.
again.
I'd love
Okay.
to.
All right. So just hang on. We'll just end it here, and then I'll chat with you after for a bit. Okay. Thanks again, Laura.
Thank you.
And oh, there we go.